Welcome to Cherry Hill Tuition, where incredible results are achieved. In this mathematics tutorial, I will cover some of the excellent processes used by Cherry Hill to achieve the highest grades. Let's get started. So before we get started with the carefully selected questions, let's go over some background theory. Today's tutorial is going to be all about the cosine rule, and the cosine rule is written as a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos of a. Okay, so for example, we can use this to work out unknown angles and unknown sides. Keep in mind that just because this is a and this is cos a does not mean that in the triangle it will also be labeled as an a. This can be a different letter, but the important thing to remember is this little a and this cos a is a side that's opposite to an angle. So as you can see, big C is opposite to small c, big A is opposite to small a, big B is opposite to small b. So the values need to be the ones that are opposite to each other, and B and C will be the other two. This will make more sense once we start going through some questions. So let's get started. I would advise that you write this formula down, as we will need this for the next few questions. Okay? You will notice that the question numbers are not consecutive and do not start from 1. This is simply because the questions refer to Cherry Hill specific material, but do not worry if you do not have access to this, as I will still cover the concepts in full. So question 2, we have a non-right angle triangle. We've been given 3 lengths and we need to work out a missing angle. So this is something the cosine rule comes in handy for when we have 3 sides and no angles, and we need to work out the size of an angle. So the first thing I would advise you to do is always write down the cosine rule. So let's write down the cosine rule first. A squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos of a. Now, we're trying to work out big angle C. So this section is quite important to us. Because we're working out angle C, a squared needs to actually be c squared. So we can rewrite this as c squared is equal to b squared plus a squared minus 2ba cos of c. Okay, and now all we need to do is plug in our values. So we have c squared, which is 6 squared. This is equal to b squared, which is 11 squared, plus a squared, which is 6 squared, minus 2 multiplied by 11 multiplied by 6 cos of c. Now all we need to do is rearrange and make c the subject. So let's just simplify this as much as we can. So 6 squared is 36, 11 squared is 121, plus 6 squared, which is 36 again. And then we have a minus 2 multiplied by 11 multiplied by 6, which is minus 132 cos of c. Now we can simplify this by collecting like terms. So 121 plus 36 is 157 minus 132 cos of c. Now, let's try and make cos of c positive. So let's add 132 cos of c to both sides. This leaves us with 36 plus 132 cos of c is equal to 157 minus 132 cos of c plus 100. And 32 cos of c. Now, as you can see on the right-hand side, the 132 cos c both cancel out, And what we are left with, I will write down at the top here. We are left with 36 plus 132 cos of C is equal to 157. So the two things stopping the C from being on its own is this plus 36 and also this multiplied by 132. So step by step, let's eliminate these two. So let's start by getting rid of the plus 36. We can do this by taking 36 away on both sides, leaving us with 132 cos of C on this side, because the plus 36 and minus 36 both cancel out. And on the left hand side, we have 157 minus 36, which is 121. And now we need to get rid of this multiplied by 132. So we can divide both sides by 132, which will leave us with 132 cos of C over 132 is equal to 121 over 132. Now on the left hand side, the 132's both cancel out and we are just left with cos C is equal to 121 over 132. Okay, and the last step is to get rid of the cos next to the C, and in order to do this, what we need to do is inverse cos on both sides. So what I'm going to do is put a star here, and we will carry on with this working out over here at the top. So if cos C is equal to 121 over 132, we can inverse cos on both sides. On the left-hand side, the cos's cancel out, which is just C. And then all we need to do is plug this in into our calculators. So inverse cos brackets 121 over 132. And this should give you an answer of 23.56 degrees. Okay, and that's your answer. So I know it might seem a little bit tricky, but remember, practice does make perfect. Have a go at this question on your own and see if you get the same answer. So question 4, again, we have two lengths, one angle, and we need to work out the third length. And what we can do is use the sine rule for this. So again, please make sure you are writing the sine rule down every single time. So a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos of a. So in this case, what we are trying to do is work out small b. And they've given us big B, which is what we need. So our A here will be our B, and our cos A will be our cos B. Okay? So it all depends on what you're trying to work out. So we can rewrite this as B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cos of B. And now all we need to do is plug in our values. So b squared, which is just b squared, is equal to a squared, which is 5 squared, plus c squared, which is 4 squared, minus 2 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 4, cos of 110, which is your b. And now we just rearrange to work out what b is. So b squared is 5 squared, which is 25, plus 4 squared, which is 16, minus 2 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 4. So 5 multiplied by 4 is 20, multiplied by 2 is minus 40, cos of 110. Okay, so again, let's simplify this. 25 plus 16 will give us 41. And then we have minus 40 cos of 110. And now all we need to do is find our value of minus 40 cos 110. So if we plug this into our calculators, what we get is, so 40 cos of 110 gives you minus 13.68, 0.80573, and two negatives gives us a positive, so b squared is equal to 41 plus 13.68 to 2 decimal places. So b squared is 13.68 plus 41, which is 54.68. And now, because we have a b squared, we need to work out what b is, so we can square root both sides. So square root and square root. This will leave us with b is equal to the square root of 54.68. And remember, it's plus and minus, but we only take the positive value because it's a length. And the square root of this gives us 7.39. And this is your answer. Okay, so hopefully this is starting to get a little bit easier for you. Again, it's practice that makes perfect, so please keep practicing and you should be able to get the hang of this quite quickly. So pause this video now and have a go at this on your own and check if you get the right answer. Question 7, we have another non-right angle triangle and we've been given 3 lengths and we need to work out the angle. So again, what we can do is use the sine rule for this. So a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos of a. In this case, because we are working out angle b, our a turns into a b. So the formula we really need is b squared. So theoretically, all we're doing is we're swapping the a and the b, nothing else. So b turns into an a and a turns into a b. So a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cos of b. Okay, and now we just plug in our values and see what we get. So b squared, which is 5 squared, is equal to a squared, which is 3 squared, plus c squared, which is 4 squared, minus 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 4 cos of b, and we are trying to now solve for b. So let's simplify this and tidy this up a little bit. 5 squared is 25, 3 squared is 9, plus 4 squared, which is 16, minus 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 4. So 3 multiplied by 4 is 12, and then we double this, giving us minus 24 cos of b. And 25. So what we can do to save space is simplify this straight away. So 9 plus 16 is 25. So 25 is equal to 25 minus 24 cos b. And because we need the cos b to be a positive, we can add 24 cos b to both sides, leaving us with 25 plus 24 cos of b, which is equal to 25 minus 24 cos b plus 24 cos b. And these two cancel out. And now what we need to do is try and get rid of everything that's stopping this b from being on its own. So let's minus 25 on both sides. On the left-hand side, we are just left with 24 cos of b, because 25 minus 25 cancel out. And on the right-hand side, what we are left with is 25 minus 25, which is 0. Okay, and now we still need to get rid of everything next to the b, so we can divide both sides by 24, leaving us with just cos b, because the 24s cancel out, and we have 0 divided by 24, which is just 0. And now all we need to do is inverse cos on both sides. And on the left-hand side, the causes cancel out, so b is equal to the inverse of cos 0, and this leaves us with 90 degrees. So what this actually means is that this triangle is a right-angled triangle. Okay, now pause this video and have a go at this question again on your own to see if you get the same answer. Question 10, we have two sides and one angle, and we need to work out the missing side. So again, let's write down the cosine rule. So a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos of a. Now in this case, we have big angle b, but we need to work out we need to work out the length b. So what we need to do is swap a with b again. Okay, so it's always the letter that you're working out always needs to be here and here. So let's just swap this. So it's b squared, because we're working out b. This is equal to a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cos of b. Okay, and now all we need to do is plug in our values. So b squared, which is just b squared, is equal to a squared, which is 4 squared, plus c squared, which is 7 squared, minus 2 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 4, cos of 105. And let's tidy this up. So 4 squared is 16, 7 squared is 49, minus 2 multiplied by 7 multiplied by 4. So 7 times 4 is 28. And then if we double this, we get minus 56 cos of 105. Okay? So 16 plus 49, in order to simplify this, is 65. And then we have a minus 56 cos of 105. Now, if we put this part into our calculators, we get an answer of, so 56 cos of 105 gives us minus 14.49. And the two negatives turns into a plus. So b squared is equal to 65 plus 14.49, which is 79.49. And we can square root both sides, leaving us with plus or minus the square root of 79.49. And we always take the positive value because it's a length. And this leaves us with 8.92. And that's your answer. Okay, so again, have a go at this again on your own without looking at my working out to check if you get the right answer. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, practice makes perfect. Never give up. I will see you in the next tutorial.